जय
जगद्गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की
जय
गौर प्रेमानंदी नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नित्यामिने
विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नित्यामिने
नमस्ते सरस्वती गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशकारिणे
नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशकारिणे
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे
हरे
कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Swaruparacharya Prabhupada ki Jai, Radhikuri Vaishnavrinda ki Jai, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai, Gaur Premanande, Gaur Sri Samad Devotee, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, So today's class will be given by Her Grace, Govinda Dasi.
Hari Hari Bol.
Very honored to have her to come today, all the way from Antigua, and to do the presentation.
Switch on the light here in this. Very welcome to the Krishna Temple today. Thank you so much for coming. Today will be, my name is Govinda Dasi, and thank you. Can you hear me? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And because Ram Navami is literally like in a few days, next week, I chose the topic of meditation on Lord Ramachandra because I think it's very, very appropriate. For some reason, the past few weeks I've been listening to Ramayana by Amala Bhaktadas. I don't know if you know him, he's a Srila Prabhupada's disciple, and he has beautiful renditions of Ramayana and Srila Prabhupada's books on his website. It's called prabhupadavani.org. Beautiful. And he does Ramayana like in different voices, he does Ram and Sita and all the voices of demons and everything. He's just amazing. Anyway, so that's hopefully we'll be able to pull this class together somehow. But anyway, before we do,
Haribol.
sing some Jai Radha Madhava. Please, let's sing together. It's a beautiful, beautiful bhajan that Srila Prabhupada, our Acharya, brought to us to the West. It's a very, very intimate bhajan. And when in any way we're not worthy of even singing it, but he brought it to us all the way from India to the West, to the people who eat meat and drink and have uncontrollable sex, So, but anyway, that's his mercy onto us, and that's why let's just sing it together. Jaya Radha Madhava. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om 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 Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Today we'll be reading a little bit. We'll be reading one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Does anyone know this book? Srimad Bhagavatam. And it is from the Canto 2, Chapter 7, which is called Scheduled Incarnations. And it's verse 24. Okay, I can't see anything. Yasmata datu daki utha bhayangavepo margam sapadya ripuram maravadidaksho dure sukhrim matitaro sashtusho nadrishtya tatapyamana makaro ragana krachakram. Translation. The personality of Godhead, Ramachandra, being aggrieved for his distant, intimate friend Sita, glanced over the city of the enemy Ravana with red, hot eyes, like those of Hara, who wanted to burn the kingdom of heaven. The great ocean, trembling in fear, gave him his way, because his family members, the aquatics like the sharks, snakes, and crocodiles, were being burned by the heat of the angry, red hot eyes of the Lord. We'll read a little bit of Srila Prabhupada's purport. The personality of Godhead has every sentiment of a sentient being. Do we know what a sentient means? It means intelligent. Like all other living beings, because he is the chief and original living entity, the supreme source of all other living beings. He is the Nitya, or the chief eternal amongst all other eternals. He is the chief one, and all the others are dependent many. The many eternals are supported by the one eternal, and thus both the eternal are qualitatively one. Due to such oneness, both the eternals constitutionally have a complete range of sentiments. But the difference is that the sentiments of the chief eternal are different in quantity from the sentiments of the dependent eternal. When Ramachandra was angry and showed his red, hot eyes, the whole ocean became heated with that energy, so much so that the aquatics within the great ocean felt the heat, and the personified ocean trembled in fear and offered the Lord an easy path for reaching the enemy's city. We'll stop here. Om Bhagavate Mirandasya Ganandrana Shalakaya Chakshurun Nilamina Tasma Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manojishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamakyam Dadati Svapadamtikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Varitam Shri Shafaditam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhama Sustade Pranamami Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanam Vaishnavim Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, it's an interesting read, but we kind of have to stop this Srila Prabhupada's purport because it's a bit long for the class. But I'll summarize it a little bit. It's saying here in this purport that the absolute truth, God, is a sentient being, which means he's a personality, you know? And personality means he has emotion, and he also has desire, you know? And but when you read the Upanishads, you know, dominated like the Vedas, you kind of get a little bit bewildered because there's a lot of impersonal features are being depicted there. And it may be confusing, you know. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada says that this could be like the last snarl of Maya, you know, when we get into this impersonalism. That's why it is very interesting to see, like to read in this verse, that the absolute truth, God, has red, hot eyes, you know. It's not like, you know, like in this Mayavada philosophy, you know, God is formless, you know, it's just this big, unknown consciousness that doesn't have a form, it doesn't have a body, it doesn't have any quality, it doesn't have anything, it doesn't have a name even. No, it does have a name, Brahman, but, you know, like it doesn't have anything else, and you cannot relate to it. And Jiva Goswami, very interestingly, he's quoting a very interesting verse from Mahabharata, where in his Tattva Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami, is one of his beautiful works called Tattva Sandarbha. He's quoting Vyasadeva from Mahabharata, where Vyasadeva himself is saying, Itihasa Purana Bhyam Vedam Semupa Brimhayet, which basically means that one must study Itihasas and Puranas along with the Vedas. Isn't that interesting? And why do you think is that? What is it that Itihasas, you know, Ramayana is in the Itihasa. Everyone knows what Itihasa is. Yeah?
Yes.
What is it?
History.
Huh? History.
History.
Yeah, a historical account. And what does Purana mean?
Older?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like an old record
Yeah.
of something that has happened, right? So that's what. So Jiva Goswami, along with Vyasadeva, saying that the Vedas are actually not complete. You know, isn't it? That's a bit shocking, isn't it, for the followers? We consider ourselves to be the followers of the Vedic culture, but here Jiva Goswami, along with Vyasadeva himself. Vyasadeva, who is Vyasadeva? He's Narayana himself. He's a powerful incarnation who he compiled the Vedas, he divided the one Veda into 4, and he wrote the Mahabharata, and lots of different Puranas, and then he also wrote Vedanta Sutra, which is what? It's a summary of all the Vedas, right? Well, that's what Vyasadeva, and he says the Vedas are not complete. You need to also study the Puranas and the Mahabharata. Well, Srila Prabhupada gave us like Upanishad, one Upanishad, like, because Upanishad is like very, very dry, powerful, could be dry philosophy, you know. So Srila Prabhupada gave to us, he translated Sri Upanishad, which is one of the main Upanishads, and then he translated lots of different books, but Srimad Bhagavatam is one of them. It's a Purana. It is called one of the. There's how many Puranas can you name? Huh?
18.
18 principal
Yes.
Puranas. And there's also 18.
18,000 shlokas.
No, Puranas. How many Puranas? You know, 18 principal ones and 18 there's minor ones. Can you name any other Purana apart from Bhagavata Purana? Oh, come on! Padma Purana, Shiva Purana, Markandeya, no, Markandeya. Huh? Garuda Purana, that's right, yes, this.
Padma Purana,
Huh?
Snake of God, Padma Purana that holds
Right,
Monasha Devi.
Well, I haven't even heard of this. Anyway, there's a lot of them. Well, Srimad Bhagavatam is called Amala Purana. Amala obviously means it's a spotless Purana, so that's why Srila Prabhupada translated Amala Purana. And also, it's good to know that these Puranas, they have different modes, you know. Sometimes you read, that's why we have to be very careful with watching the movies, you know, because sometimes movies could be made after a particular Purana that could be in the mode of Rajas, you know, or Tamas. They say Agni Purana is one of the Tamasic Puranas, so because they, you know, we're different, we're under different modes, and that's why they're different Puranas for us. So anyway, I don't know, I kind of got sidetracked, but the reason for Jiva Goswami mentioning this, he's telling us along with Vyasadeva that we need to study Puranas because in the Puranas and Itihasas, we can clearly see that the absolute truth is that person. And he can have red, hot eyes. And can somebody remember, like, recollect, what is the story? You know, why was his eyes red hot? What happened?
I think he was trying to cross the ocean to go to Sri Lanka.
Correct. Yes.
Hanuman was supposed to fly.
Correct. Yes. No, Hanuman already flew and
Yeah,
came
Hanuman
back.
flew, yeah.
And then Ram, the absolute truth, God himself, he is very, very personal, and he can experience very, very deep emotions. And here, the emotion that he's experiencing is anger. You'd be thinking, that's a pretty powerful tamasic kind of, you know, destructive anger. But that's the difference. There's a difference there. The difference is that God, the absolute truth, his emotions, first of all, is very powerful, obviously. We cannot boil even like a glass of water for our tea. But he can boil, that's the absolute, the magnitude of his emotion. You know, he looks and he boils the whole ocean. You know?
By glance?
By glance, exactly. And because he looked with his red hot eyes, then he got free passage, okay, like the ocean, because all the sharks and crocodiles and all the sea creatures, they started to literally die, you know, get hooked. So that's why, you know, Varun, I mean, the different Puranas tell us differently, but I believe like Varuna comes out and he apologizes, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were going to so anyway, his emotion is very, very deep and very powerful. We also experience anger, but our anger usually comes from, almost never comes from love, right? It comes from envy, usually. That's our, if you boil down all the negative emotions that we have, you will very quickly come to envy. God's emotions are always motivated by love. Lord Ram looks at the Indian Ocean, he sees, okay, Lanka is there. My Sita is there. And this 10-headed Ravana, this Rakshasa, does not even deserve like looking at her. Never mind thinking that she is his, you know, she's Lakshmi Devi herself, incarnation. Sita is Lakshmi Devi. Herself. And if she's there, you know, in his captivity, and like, that's why, you know, he looks, he boils the ocean, and then of course, he builds, what does he build? Yes, exactly, he builds this Ram Setu. He builds a bridge with floating stones. Also, you know, can you imagine, like, building a bridge with floating stones across the ocean very, very quickly? He does that because he's God himself, but he plays a role of a human. Now, why does he come? What is the teaching of Lord Ram? You know, what does he want to show us? Jiva Goswami, along with our acharyas, is calling him like Maryada Purushottama. Maryada is order, right? Like he comes. If you remember, you know, who remembers, who was the previous avatar before Lord Ram? Parashuram, correct. What did Parashuram do?
Kill all the
Kills.
Kshatriyas.
He kills 20, very good, Marina. 21 generations of Kshatriyas. Why did he do that? That's just terrible, isn't it?
He finished all.
Huh?
He finished all Kshatriya.
Yes, no, yeah, but why? He's just cruel, is God cruel?
No.
Is he, why would he do that? Right? Why would he come and kill?
On revenge.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe because they were not going according to Dharma.
Correct, absolutely, you nailed it. Parashuram comes because, like, he sees there's lots of in order, Kshatriyas who are supposed to be like, in the older days, like Dasarat, like Ram, they were Raj Rishis. There's lots of, they called Raj Rishis. They're saintly kings. But then, because they became, like too much rajas under the influence of passion, they become greedy, they become jealous, they become this and that. So Lord Parashuram, there's an interesting story which I'm not going to go into why, he happens to do that, gets an axe and starts chopping. Lord Ramachandra comes after this powerful, after Lord Parashuram, to restore the order, to show how a king should be, Dharma comes first, always, never mind, I can give up anything and everything for the sake of Dharma, for the sake so that the citizen of Ayodhya live properly and happily, and I'm happy to resign everything I have, everything I love for that. So what is the learning? What is the teaching for us in this, What do you think? What does he teach to us?
Follow Dharma. Follow Dharma.
Follow Dharma. Yes, okay. But we also know that there is Svadharma. Have you heard about that? Svadharma is beyond the material Dharma. Whatever is being taught in the letters, it's a material order, so the people live in a godly way under the law of God properly, and then they eventually, when they go through one life after another, and someday they think, oh my goodness, I think I've had enough. It looks like it's the same, isn't it? And they come to the idea of getting out. So basically, I'm talking moksha here. But this is a system of varnashram and everything. That's very, very good, right? For us, this, the teaching of Lord Ram, who's of course also teaching us love, he's showing not just, how he can, with his anger, boil the ocean, he also teaches us how to forget. He forgets that he is God. Like if you remember Ramayana, it's very, very touchy, how Lord Ram, when he loses Sita, and he's completely distraught, he's like, he cannot bear it. He literally cries, and he's like a baby, he's like no, in a good way. He's a man in very, very deep love. And this separation from Sita is absolutely unbearable. It is the job of Lakshman, his brother, to tell him, oh, come on, you're God, you know what I mean? Like, it will sort it out, Lakshman always kind of happens to tell him that, because God always comes, when he comes in his incarnation, he always teaches us love. They all come, the avatars, all incarnations to teach us how to love, but they do it in a different way. So here we have God himself, Lord Ramachandra, completely in love with Sita. And he's so much in love that he forgets that he's God. He goes into this complete deep sorrow, deep grief when he loses Sita. It's just a matter of, like Lakshman, as I said, to remind him that he's God and everything will be sorted out. Anyway, so he teaches us love, but on the other hand, he also teaches us how to be. He teaches us how to follow the Dharma. For us, sadhakas, devotees who are trying, who are trying to become devotees.
order and discipline are very, very important. And this is a teaching we should get from Lord Ram, you know. Doesn't really matter, because life could sometimes be very challenging. Does anyone here who thinks that life is all rosy? And no one. No one. Yeah, yeah. It can be very, very sometimes tough. You know, we all have, you know, these ups and downs. But he teaches, Lord Ram teaches us, okay, just stay disciplined, you know, do your sadhana, it doesn't matter. You know, get early in the morning, because that's the right time to get up and to do your 16 rounds, you know, do your japa in the right time of the day. Try not to eat outside, you know, the food that is not offered to us. You know, all these things, all the things that we do, you know, that's a learning. We need to learn from that, because this is our discipline. And when we learn this discipline, when we might start understanding, you know, what actually Krishna is teaching. Because Krishna comes after Lord Ramachandra, obviously, you know, if you look at the chronology. And then he also teaches love. But also Krishna teaches us how love could be absolutely beautiful, and that love is actually beyond Dharma, you know. And with all these extraordinary leelas are demonstrating this. Love is our Dharma, you know, love to God, obviously, you know. And this is all his leelas are demonstrating this. And I always remember, this is one of my best parts in Srimad Bhagavatam, the first canto, when Krishna, of course, you know, who agreed to be chariot driver, charioteer of Arjuna, and Arjuna is his friend. And in those days, like, even now, like, a driver is not a very, you know, very noble profession in the sense, you know. So anyway, in those days, chariot driver was not the very popular thing, you know, popular occupation, I'd say. So, but Krishna agrees to become Arjuna's charioteer, right? And then he also gives his word. I'm not gonna participate, you know, I'm just gonna be a driver and that's it, you know? And then what happens? Who knows? Who remembers? What happens? It's actually Krishna, when the things became really, really safe, so to speak, and Bhishma is going to kill Arjuna. That's it, you know. And Krishna, oh my goodness, right? Bhishma is going to actually kill Arjuna. What does he do? He gets off his chariot, he grabs like the wheel of another like chariot, and he dashes, he runs towards Bhishma, and he wants to kill Bhishma with his own hands. He completely forgot that he's a kshatriya, dishonor for a kshatriya is no. Kshatriya has to fulfill his words always. When Arjuna, when he said on one occasion, I don't remember when, but he said, if someone's going to say something bad about my bow Gandiva, I'm going to kill him on the spot. Now Arjuna is very, very proud, you know, and he knows what the kshatriya word means. And he tries to stop Krishna, you know, he just grabs him by the legs. Stop, Krishna, you cannot. It doesn't really matter for Krishna, you see, because his love for his friend Arjuna is higher, you know. He does not think about Dharma or anything else. He just rushes to help his friend. And another example that I just escaped my mind, I wanted to give another example of, oh yes, and then also very controversially, you know, when I read like this Bhagavad Gita, this Mahabharata, I couldn't kind of process it, like why would Krishna ask Yudhishthira to lie? Is lying good? No. We teach our children to not lie, you know, in any second. Lying is not good. It's not good, no matter how you look at it. But what does Krishna do?
But by lying, if something good is happening, then there is no harm in lying.
If you're protecting your dharma,
Yeah.
Right.
if you're protecting your dharma, you can lie.
Right, but you know, like he tells Yudhishthira, like you go and you lie, you know, and then because Yudhishthira lied, his teacher, Dronacharya died. see how dharmic that is. It's not dharmic, it's not dharmic. Why does he do that?
To save his devotee.
To
To
save
save it.
the
He actually is doing, sorry, what did you say?
to save the dharma.
To save the dharma. No, that this is it's not, as I said, it's not very dharmic, like Dronacharya died because Yudhishthira, he believed him, absolutely, everybody would.
Dronacharya was a supporter of Kaurava, so he was anyways supporting the team that was against them.
Mhm.
So that's why he was part of the team.
Yeah, he was on the wrong side.
Wrong side.
He was on the wrong side. But also what happened here, Krishna, saw the Yudhishthira was very attached to his truthfulness. You see, this is why it's meditation on Lord Ramachandra is good. Before we even think of love, because Krishna is Lila Purushottama. If Lord Ramachandra is Maryada Purushottama, Krishna is Lila Purushottama. He comes and he plays, But before we could even proceed, thinking of how we can love God, who plays and who dances and who is doing all sorts of naughty things, we need to prepare our heart. We need to cleanse our heart from all the stuff that's in there. And attachments are one of them, there's lots of attachments. You see, Yudhishthira, who was the noblest king, the noblest person, would never utter a lie, In the end of the day, this is attachment as well, because he's attached to his truthfulness so much so that when the things come to, we need to, everyone's dying, Dronacharya, Krishna wants it, go do it, and he does it, so, and this is why he's doing it, because he's giving up his word, his dharmic truthfulness, that he's giving it up for Krishna. That's why, he gets rid of this attachment, and this is why, and this is what Krishna does, when he comes. Well, and for us, is that for our meditation, we're not in a position of Yudhishthira, and Krishna is not our chariot driver. He's not, he's not our friend. But Lord Ramachandra teaches us this discipline, the dharma. You have to do your duties properly. You have to, you have families, and you need to raise your children in the right way, I'm not saying you have to teach your children not to lie, but it's just I wanted to say this thing just in order to give the right perspective. So now going back to Lord Ram, a little bit of tattva as well. So Lord Ram is Supreme Personality of Godhead, yes? He comes, Supreme Personality of Godhead never comes alone, right? Descends, I know. Who are his closest associates in this Lila, in Ram Lila? His brothers. How many brothers does he have?
3 more.
3. What are the names?
Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrugna.
Shatrugna and Bharata. And his mothers. Lord Ramachandra's mother. How many?
4 Kosh.
Huh? Did you say 4? 3. And their names, please?
Kaushalya.
Kaushalya, she's whose mother? Ram. Kaushalya is, right?
Kekai.
Okay. She's whose mother? Bharat, right? And? Sumitra. Sumitra is the mother of the twins, right? Shatu, yes. And this is one of the episodes that I wanted to talk about is also talking about the stuff that we have, that when we're not yet ready for Krishna, and that's why we're meditating on Lord Ram. Because in this story of Kaikeyi, she was absolutely, perfectly happy because she was a wife of an amazing king, Dasara, who lived in Ayodhya. They say that because of the, what was the river, Sarai, no one could lie even in Ayodhya. They were very, very pure because she lived in an environment like that, and she loved Ram. It says, like in the Valmiki Ramayana, she loved Ram more even than her own son. This is Kaikeyi, and I believe now in India this name is not very popular. Have you ever met somebody called Kaikeyi? No, because Indian people, they still have this resentment in their heart, She did something very, very wrong to Ram. Why did you do this? Why did you do this? She was perfectly happy, and this is what this Leela is teaching us. This is what this Leela is teaching us, that because the Lord is complete, let's say when Ram is experiencing, showing, manifesting his anger and all that, it comes from the fullness of his heart, you see, because his heart is full with love, and his motivation of anger is love. Well, Kaikeyi was very happy. She never remembered about those two wounds that her husband, whom he saved from the battlefield, and helped to heal his wounds and all that. She helped him to do that, and when he did this, King Dasara told her, "Oh, Kaikeyi, you saved my life. Ask me whatever you want. 2 wishes, I'll grant. Anything I'll do for you." And she said, "No, my lord, I'm perfectly happy. I don't need it. And he said, "Okay, when you need it, I'll give it to you." So she never remembered this. Why would she remember this? And then, but because we are, she's Jiva Tattva, she's not, by the way, the brothers of Lord Ramachandra, they're Vishnu Tattva, the Vishnu Tattva, Lord Lakshman is, Lord Ramachandra himself is Vasudev, and then Lord Lakshman is Sankarshan, and then Bharat is Pradyumna, and then Shatrugna Janita. She's Jiva Tattva, right? And then, because, she could be just happy, well, okay, I saved my husband, I'm complete, he's alive, everything is fine. No, she goes and he talks to this miserable maidservant of hers, Mandara. She tells her, she boasts, because she tells this. She said, look, I saved my husband, and, he gave me these boons. Mandara remembered. And then, when another thing that happens with Lord Dasarat, it is true what Mandara was actually saying. This is what I discovered recently. It is true, there was conspiracy on behalf of King Dasarat. He knew when he was sending Bharat, when Bharat was away, this is when he wanted to crown Lord Ram. Because, does anyone know this? Because apparently Lord Dasarat, when he only had one wife, Kaushalya, and they were kind of reaching a very, very advanced age, she didn't have any children. They just couldn't conceive any children. So he goes to this country, which is, I think it's around where Afghanistan is now, and he approaches the king of that, Kaikeyi, I think it's called. Anyway, he gets this beautiful wife, Kaikeyi, and he promises to the husband, to the father of Kaikeyi, that his son will be king, because he thought he was never going to get children from Kaushalya. But because of the Lord's arrangement, the Leela, they did all 4 children were born, and so Kaushalya she had a child first. Ram was the first. So knowing this, Dasarat, instead of telling Bharat, in honest, that I want to crown Ram because, this is dharmic, all this. He could have told, he didn't say it. And instead, he just sends him away, and then he wants to crown Ram, and then what happened? All this tragedy that happened. Leela, it seems material that it's a tragedy, but of course it's a Leela for God himself. But anyway, the reason why I mentioned this story is that because we are as Jiva Tattvas, we are Tatasva Shakti. Tatastha Shakti, right? What does that mean? Tatastha?
Marginal.
Yeah, we can fall under the influence of Maya at any time, at any time. So both of them, like King Dasarat, very noble king, and then Kaikeyi, also, as I said, completely happy and in love Ram, because Mandara was, you know, feeding her all this contaminated flies, you know. She contaminated her so much so that Kaikeyi became this completely cruel, stone-like woman, you know. Like she loved her husband, she loved Ram, never mind Ram now, you know. The husband was literally, he was so distraught, Dasarat was completely, like he was dying in front of her eyes. And she didn't, like her heart became like a stone, you know. And this is why, like, meditating on Lord Ramachandra's Leela is very, very important for us, because we need to learn, we need to look at our hearts and see what's happening there, you know, what all our attachments. We can see all these desires that are not motivated by love. Desires, even sometimes we look at our children and our motivation is, oh, you know, when they grow up, you know, they will look up. And you see, this is the nature of this material world. So that's why, you know, when Lord Ram comes, like as Maryada Purushottama, he teaches us to be orderly, to do our duties properly, and then when Lord Krishna comes as a Leela Purushottama, he shows all these beautiful leelas. He shows that love is above Dharma even, and then so that we could see, you know, how this Svadharma is something that is the love for God. You know, we learn by looking, by reading, by hearing about all these leelas. We cleanse our heart, and then when Lord Chaitanya comes, and he comes as a Prema Purushottama. Prema Purushottama, Prema, like he comes and shows us how to obtain the love. You know, that's the sequence that I would like to draw here. And maybe we have some time for questions or commentaries. I don't know. I feel so humbled because you all come from the country where all this, you know, was happening, and you probably know all sorts of Ramayana versions much more than me. And I felt very humbled that I'm gonna sit here and say something about Ramayana. So maybe you have some comments and maybe questions. No? Nobody has any commentary, question? Well, that's good. Do we have still 20 minutes, yes or no? 20 minutes. Okay. So I would like to share this beautiful story that Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj wrote. It's in his book, which is called The Taste of Wild Honey. It's only in Russian available now, but it's a beautiful story. It's called Sita and Paris. His story is based on a story from Padma Purana. And the story goes like this. The story is about like how Sita was banished, and it starts with just imagine the palace, the beautiful palace, and everything is now. Sita and Ram are at their happiest moment, and Lakshman is now crying, and we find out that Lakshman is crying because Ram is ordering him to banish, to take Sita away, to bring her to the forest. And Lakshman cannot process it at all. And he is in a situation where once in his life, he doesn't want to follow the orders of his elder brother. Because before that, he'd always follow anything that Ram says he'll do. And what happened exactly, we will find out later. So Lakshman, he's crying at this point. He's crying because Ram told him okay, you go and you do it. And Lakshman is crying and he's going to collect Sita. And he comes, he knocks on her door, and then he says, okay, my queen, Lord Ram, he told me to bring you to the sages. And she's very happy. Oh yes, I'm going to see the sages. My Lord Ram remembers, he remembers my wish to go and see the sages. I have all these beautiful gifts. I'm going to see their wives. They are going to give all these gifts to them, and they're going to just bless me. Oh my Lord, she's very happy. So she collects all the gifts. Her maidservant gives her all the gifts, and then she's holding them. And then she walks toward Lakshman, and then somehow she just falls down, over the threshold. And then all the gifts are scattered around, and Lakshman is collecting them. And it's a very bad sign. Now Sita is a little bit worried what's happening. So anyway, and then she says, oh Lakshman, will you help me to bring all these gifts to the chariot? And then Lakshman doesn't even say anything because he just looks away. He's holding his tears because he knows what he has to do. So anyway, they come down to the chariot, and Sumantra is Lakshman's chariot driver, and he's his advisor as well. So he goes, okay, Sumantra, let's go. And then Sumantra cannot bring the horses to go. And then the horses just stand there and they don't move. And then he's like whipping him, but they don't move. And then they fall down on their knees, all the horses. And then Sumantra says, he looks at Lakshman's face, and then he's hoping against hope that his master will tell him, let's go home, we're not going anywhere. And then he says, Master, the horses don't want to go. What do I do? And then Lakshman says, whip them harder. So, and then somehow this way or the other, Sumantra manages to bring the horses to go, and then they go, and then poor Sita, she doesn't understand why Lakshman is not saying anything, what's going on, all these bad omens, she fell, and then the horses don't want to go, what's going on. So they go, and she's talking to Lakshman. He's like a stone, he cannot, because he said if he starts talking, he's going to start crying, so he doesn't. So, and she's talking to herself, oh, these bad signs, why did I leave my husband, because I wanted to enjoy, I wanted all the blessings, I should have stayed home, all this. She's kind of reprimanding herself. And then the horses, then finally they got to the Ganges, and she sees the Ganges and there's a forest, they cross the river, and then she sees this strange forest, it's not nice, lots of dead trees and thorns everywhere, and she's hearing the howls of owls and all that. And then the deer comes from the forest, and then she turns left instead of right, another bad omen. And then she goes, oh, Lakshman, maybe we should go home, I'm not seeing this. And Lakshman just walks in front of her. And then he goes, and then she feels, okay, and then she suddenly stops and says, okay, Lakshman, I'm not going anywhere. What? You have to tell me what's happening. And this is what happened, as we know, Lord Ram, the day before, he sent his spies, as kings would do, he would send his spies to Ayodhya, to find out, to listen what's going on, and we know what happened. One of the spies heard a washerman yelling at his wife and beating her up and telling her, oh, you were this and that, you stayed in the house of this man, and then his own mother is trying to restrain him and say, she's innocent. What are you doing? Stop doing this. And then he goes, ha, ha, ha. I better do this to my wife. Of course, I'm not Ram, I'm not the king. I can't do what he does. His wife was away, in another man's palace for a year almost. I'm not Ram, but, I'm Dharmic, I can kick out my wife. So the spy wanted to kill this guy immediately, on the spot. But then he remembered that, obviously, Lord Ram said, no, you're just spies, you collect. And in those days, the kings wouldn't do this spying for the purpose of for their own purpose. The spying was to find out what is it that the citizens are telling about king, and then correcting his behavior. He wants to know what his citizens, want. So anyway, this spy comes and he thinks, okay, at least I'm not going to tell Ram anything because this is terrible, this, how can you say, everybody knows Sita is innocent, the gods proved it, she went through the fire, and Agni Dev also, all sorts of witnesses, the gods, everybody knows Sita is innocent, right? I'm not going to say anything to Ram. But of course, when there's an audience of Ram, he figures, okay, he kind of makes him tell the whole story, and he tells, and then after Ram actually, he fainted. When he heard this, he had just collapsed, But anyway, he was so shocked, and then he asks for Bharat and Lakshman and Shatrugna, they will come, and then he announces, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to banish Sita, because if the citizens are going to think like that, things are going to go worse. I can't afford that in my kingdom. I'm dishonored, so I'm ready to give up even Sita for this. All the brothers collectively, they tried one by one to persuade him not to do this, but they failed. And then with this situation, so Lakshman at this point, he's crying tears, he's crying rivers. And he's telling this story to Sita, and then Sita becomes like a stone when he hears it. And then she says, how could Ram, he's such a noble king, how can he do this? He knows I'm innocent. Why would he do this? But then she restrains herself, and then she says, okay. Tell Ram that he is my Lord. If that is his wish, I'm going to do this for him. And also, I would kill myself, but, for the sake of the child that is under my heart, I'm just going to stay alive. And but please tell Ram he should not reproach himself. I'm still going to love him. Anyway, so Lakshman, and she, obviously, this whole story, she was fainting, and then Lakshman was crying. He didn't know what to do, but he decided, okay, I just have to fulfill this order. I have to fulfill the order of my brother. And then when Sita came into consciousness after being fainting, and it was going on, a while, he leaves. And then when she understands finally that it is true, she's going, because he told her, Lakshman told her, that Valmiki Muni lives nearby, his ashram is nearby, he will look after you. That's Ram's order. And he literally runs, because he thinks if he stops, he's just going to stay with her, and help her in this condition. Anyway, then when she realizes that he's actually leaving, she collapses. Again, she faints, and then it's a beautiful, I can't give the story justice, because all the animals, the swans are trying to bring her water in their beaks, to sprinkle water in her face, and then the trees suddenly, start blossoming, because they want to, so that the aroma of their blossoms, could reach her nostrils and enliven her. And then all the birds start singing so that, she can hear it, and to please her. The whole forest is just reciprocating with her grief. And then she comes into her consciousness, and then she's under a banyan tree, and then she looks up and she sees these two green parrots. And then she remembered. She saw those two green carrots. They were kind of cooing, and they were against each other. You could see a male and female, a husband and wife, and they were so happy together. And she remembered. And she remembered the story when she was only 5 years old, little princess, princess of King Janaka. She was in the forest with her girls, friends, and then those two parrots, beautiful green parrots, flying around, and they were singing the words, she heard about King Ram, and his wife Sita. And then little Sita got very, very curious. She goes, well, who is this Ram? You know, this song is about, they're singing about Sita. I want to know. And then she asks her mates to get the parrots, and they do. And then these two parrots in front of her, very, very scared. And then she goes, don't be scared, you know, just tell me the story. You were singing about Ram and about Sita, you know, tell me more. Where did you learn this? And then they go, oh, you know, we live like next to, and in the tree where there's ashram of this Valmiki Muni, and he created this beautiful Ramayana, you know. And him and his disciples every evening, they sing this Ramayana. And we listen and we learn, and then we learn the whole Ramayana. You know, we can sing it to you if you like. She goes, yeah, you know. And then the female parrot just looked at her and said, but who are you? Why are you so interested? And she goes, but I'm not Sita. I'm the daughter of King Janaka. That's why, you know, I want to know it all. You are going to stay in my palace, you know, and going to sing to me every day. And then the parrot said, no, you know, we are birds, you know, we cannot live in captivity. We'll die. Please let us go. We're going to come and sing to you if you like, but please. And she goes, no, you know. And she was very firm at letting them stay. And then we plead again, and then she goes, okay, for a male parrot, you can go, but she will stay. You know, she will stay until your prediction that I'm going to meet Ram and be the queen of Ayodhya, until this comes true, she will stay. And then the poor female parrot, and she said, please, you know, I'm pregnant, please let us at least like go get our chicks, you know, hatch our chicks, and then we'll come. She couldn't find it in her heart. She was so set on learning about Lord Ram and the whole story, you know, that she was only 5 years old. You know, she's very small, but you know how kids are. So anyway, and then the female parrot, she was so distraught. Her little heart just broke, and she died. And before she died, she cursed Sita. She said, because you're separating me from my husband when I'm pregnant, this is also going to happen to you. You're going to be separated from your husband when you're expecting a child. And the female parrot dies. And then the male parrot got so angry, you know, his wife died in front of him. He flies up and he says, oh, beautiful Sita, you know, why did you do this? Because you made my wife die in front of my eyes. I am going to get reborn in Ayodhya when you are the queen of Ayodhya, and I'm going to be that washerman that will say bad words about you, and because of that you'll be banished. You'll be separated from your husband. So that's the story that, it's a beautiful story, and there's a beautiful ending to it. But the gist of the story is like that. And then in the afterwards, Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj writes that for years and years he couldn't come to the grips of the story, you know. His heart, like, you know, some people say that Ram did this because of Dharma, to protect Dharma, or some people say, you know, they just sympathize with Sita so much, and some people say something else, but he said, like, no matter what I read or heard, just kind of couldn't satisfy my heart. But then he said at some point of time, I realized that God's activities, they're not material. We're trying to figure God out with our material senses, with our material intelligence, or our material mind, but He's beyond. He's beyond all of that. And His activities are incomprehensible for us. And we should not be judging God's activities and deeds through our material, with our material mind. But what we could do, we could just be sympathetic, we could just, you know, live this whole story and try to make our own conclusions and just feel, you know, the amount of love that is there on both sides. And then because we are going to fulfill our dharma and do our sadhana correctly, we will cleanse our heart. We will kill with the arrow, Ram's arrow. We will kill this Ravana, 10-headed Ravana nature in our heart, and make our heart like a suitable target for the arrow of Krishna. This transcendental Kamadev, Krishna, who will pierce our heart with love for him. Hare Krishna.
Just one question, because you're mentioning about God is there, is coming to show us the understanding of love. So in that story, we can see, so the love that's been exemplified is, the love that's been exemplified is Sita. She's accepting what's happening, and she says to Ram, that's fine. Just tell him I still love him, even though I'm kind of been banished. And but is there also what is Ram's love in that sense? I mean, sometimes he gets a bad name, but there must be a story as well explaining. I mean, or maybe I'm just not able to take it in at the moment. It's his love of Dharma, because we're saying that God's love is above Dharma in that sense. So.
Yeah, me too. Like I understand that it's very difficult for us to come to grips with this, but he's still teaching us love, you see. But just like Krishna, all avatars are teaching us love, but they're teaching us differently. And the teaching that we need to learn from here is do your duty, And if we love, how love should be and how love should be beyond everything else. This is Krishna's teaching, you see. In this Leela, in Ram's Leela, we should look at a different teaching. That's it. You see, this is how I understand it, based on what my Guru Maharaj was saying also in his class, that is the teaching. We should not be thinking that, you know what I mean? Because we cannot comprehend, because we look at this situation like completely from our material point, with our material intelligence. But he's beyond. That's how I could.
Well, I'm kind of also taking from what you're saying as well that when he's coming in, when he's Krishna, he says Nampari Ham, that he cannot repay the love as well.
Yeah.
So it seems to be a real correspondence there with.
Yes.
Sita's.
Yeah, he cannot. Like her love is so much.
Yeah.
More like the gopis. Their love is. Like Krishna cannot reciprocate fully, you know what I mean? Their love is always like with Radharani, This is why he comes as Lord Chaitanya, because he wants to experience this. How come? Okay, I love her, but I can see, what she's getting from loving me is so much bigger than what I am getting. That's why he comes as Lord Chaitanya, in a mood, because he, as a devotee, he wants to experience how a devotee feels when he's completely in love with Krishna. Yeah. Thank you for your question. I don't know whether I got it. Yeah, we should stop here. Yeah.
Unless there's any more questions.
I thought somebody wanna run the movie. No, the presentation.
Oh, no, that'll be after.
Oh, it is. Okay. Is there any more questions or commentary? No. Marina, you would ask something?
Yeah. So Rama he protect Dharma, but if he left Sita in the forest, she wasn't guilty. Is this Dharma? Is a Dharma?
No, he's Dharma. He's the king. You see, the Dharma of the king, because usually kings could have. We learn from Bhagavad, could have million wives. You know what I mean? So the Dharma of king is obviously to protect the wife, but no, he knows she'll be protected in the ashram of Valmiki Muni. So there's no Adharma. He's not sending her to the forest to be eaten by wild animals. I suppose the story, Padma Purana is like a little bit more, kind of dramatic. I'm sure when he was sending Sita, he knew she was going to be looked after. his dharma is a king.
Yeah.
You know, like in Varna Ashrama, you know, the dharma of the kshatriya is to protect, like, the citizens, and yeah, you're right, she's also a citizen. But there's gradations of dharma as well, because he's like the king of Ayodhya. His dharma is to look after the wellness of the whole Ayodhya. Because it's also in the Vedas, you see the king, he shares the karma of his citizenship. I think 1/6, isn't it, of the karma of the citizens. So if the citizens are happy with the king, you know, he gets a good karma, and also he obviously, the good king also shares his karma with the citizens. So that is his main dharma, you see. So, and again, like as I was just saying, you know, it is very difficult for us. It's a very, sometimes these activities are incomprehensible for us because we're trying to crack them with our material intelligence, and it doesn't work. It really doesn't. I'm sorry, but that's...
Is there some descriptions, I don't know where, but I've heard the descriptions that even when Sita was away, Ram would be thinking of her all the time or something.
Yeah, and he never married. You know, kings. We learn from Bible, like Krishna in Dwaraka has how many wives? How many wives has Krishna in Dwaraka? 16,108 wives. Lord Ramachandra only married Sita, and he was faithful to her until he never married. So he loved her. He loved her. That was his dharma. That was his sacrifice. He sacrificed the best thing he has had in his life. He sacrificed it for dharma. This is the teaching.
He probably needed Lakshman there all the time to tell him he's gone, because he was probably his heart is breaking all the time.
Yes, true. Shall we stop here? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah? Yes? Yes. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Get this book, whoever doesn't have this book. Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the second canto. We have lots of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the most beautiful book I've ever handled in my hands, I must say. And I have lots of books, my even notes in my hand. It's got everything there. Action, love, murder. I'm not selling it well.
Well, so the next part of the program is the arti, so if everyone could stand up and see the altar. The words.
Okay.
Shankara Bhajiranta Bhaje Bhaje Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Samete Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Dharmani Prasarine Nirvesha Sunramani Prasarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Gauranga Shiva Deva Radha Shiva Sadi Lakshmi Krishna Chaitanya Gauranga Hare
Krishna
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone sing together. Hare Krishna. Put your hands in the air as well. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. One more time, everyone together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Bhajan. Jaya Krishna Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Stotara Sadashikshima. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Iskan Bhanacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Guru Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Benzigaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Hari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki. Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Chamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhana Ki. Vrindavan Dham Ki, Mayapur Dham Ki, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki, Jamuna Maya Ki, Ganga Maya Ki, Tulsi Devi Ki, Bhakti Devi Ki, Sharma Veda Bhakti Vrinda Ki, Harinam Sankirtan Yagi Ki, Vyatma Damla Tujana Bhakti Ki, Iskan Island Ki, Govinda. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Haribol. So we can sit down for a second. So the next part of the program will be the Nishinga Arti, and then for 5 minutes, and then we will have prasadam. But before we do, I want to draw your attention. There's a presentation here. If you could have a look at this screen here. There's a little presentation regarding what our next step is. We have, you can see our temple room is quite full at the moment.
Hare Krishna, please don't leave. We have prasad, free prasad for everyone. So just in 5-10 minutes, we will be having prasad in the restaurant. So we can sit for a while. We just want to show you our vision for Dublin, vision for all of us. Just give us a few minutes.
Everyone can move forward.
We have more space here. We can come in. Please come in. Please make space for others. Yeah, we have more space. Please come in. Please come in. Few volunteers can go down in the restaurant for prasadam distribution. Maybe Shivansh Prabhu and others with Garishma Mataji.
So we're just getting set up here.
Can we turn off the lights from there? Can someone turn off the lights? And can close windows please, if you can.
Hare Krishna, please move a little ahead so that everyone can accommodate, please.
Okay.
So we're just waiting for the projector to get heat up. And it's based on the vision that you don't need much of a vision to see our temples getting smaller and smaller because more and more people are coming. In fact, during Janmashtami, we've had to get rent places outside here because it's not possible because we had 1,000 people here at one time and people were just up and down the stairs out Middle Abbey Street and everything. But there's also, we have a vision to try to put into place the Brahminical idea of the Vedic culture that we're trying to establish here in Ireland. So we want to have a temple, but we want to have a little bit more. We're going for a little bit more than that. You can see this picture here. It's something like what we're looking at, but we want it on the outskirts of Dublin. It's like an urban farm in a sense. But you can see there, centered in it is the temple. Now, this will take a little bit of time, but we're getting closer and closer and closer. We've raised about 160,000 so far towards our goal, and we have a bank loan coming in at 500,000. So we're getting closer to what we're looking for. But the thing what we're looking for initially is to get some land to have this. So we'll go on to the next slide. This is an idea of what we're looking at. This is the top temple complex, and I think you can see on the right hand side, and it probably is harder to see it right in what we're trying to do there, but it gives you a good idea. We start off with a temple hall. When we get land, thank you. When we get land, we want to start off to get a temple hall. So we're getting close to buying the land, and then once we have the land, then we're going for this temple. The temple is a temple hall, a deity kitchen, a temple kitchen, accommodation rooms for our pujaris and for guests. We have a hallway stroke, a foyer so people can meet. We've got a cafe, restaurant, a shop, meeting rooms, office, storage space and toilets. So that, number one, you can see that complex, that's what we're trying to do. Number two, we have a forest area because we're also protecting, trees and, the idea is to have quite a sattvic place where people can go and meditate as well. Number three, we have Tulsi Devi, which is the wonderful Tulsi Devi, internal energy, such an incredible, amazing force that Krishna has given us here. That Tulsi is a very sacred plant, so we want to have a specific area for Tulsi. But then this is the next stage, 4. We may not do this straight away, but this is what we're looking at. Because Ram is protecting all living entities, but in Ireland, the cows are absolutely slaughtered, basically. So we have to demonstrate that we also are, that we have a different view on life. I actually met the Minister for Agriculture in Ireland, and together with one sadhu who came from India, we both told him he has to stop killing cows. The sadhu was very powerful actually, he spoke to the Prime Minister's wife and everything. Now they didn't respond properly, but now we have to show that we can do this. So we're going to have a cow barn. We have an area where the cows will be looked after, where they will never ever be harmed. And a goshala, cow barn is incorrect. Goshala is the word. And that we will also have the milk which we can give to the deities, which will be something which we were hoping to install very soon afterwards. So that's very important, the cow barn. We'll also have a playground for the children, because they're very important members of society. There's one little girl here today, and she was unfortunate, she wasn't too happy